But it was never so with the apostle. I think I see him now, working long past midnight, making his tents, taking stitch after stitch with his needle through the hard canvas, working away to provide for his own individual needs, because an ungracious people held back the laborer's reward. Then I see that tent-maker going into the pulpit, with his hands all blistered with his hard work, rough and horny as a laborer's hands. You would say of him at once, in getting up to speak, that man never proposes to himself the praises of his hearers. He is not like the Grecian orator who will go anywhere to get a clap, turn aside to tell any tale, or to preach anything if he can but excite his audience to say, "He is an orator. Let us write him down among the great names. Let us put the crown upon his head and celebrate him through the midst of Greece as being the golden-mouthed man who can speak right mightily." Never could you see that in Paul. You could discover at once that his solitary aim was to win souls, and so to glorify Christ. Let us labor after this as a part of all humility. But again, there is in the next place humility during the act. When a man finds that God is with him, he may be base enough to glorify himself. He may have been very humble indeed when he began the battle, but there is one enemy there at his feet, and another has just been dashed down by a blow from his right hand. The evil one whispers in his ear, "Thou hast done well. Thou art doing well." And then pride comes in and spoils all. That is a splendid psalm which begins, "Not unto us." David thought it needful to say it twice. "Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us." Then he deals the death blow with the other sentence, "But unto thy name be all the glory." To sing that song when you are trampling on your foes, to sing that song when you are reaping the great harvest, to sing that song when God's people are fed under your ministry, to sing that when you are going on from strength to strength, conquering and to conquer, will prove a healthy state of heart. Nothing but the most extraordinary grace can keep us in our right position while we are serving God, and God is honoring us. We are so inclined to filch his jewels from the crown to put them upon our own breasts. If we would not steal the diadem itself, yet we look with longing eyes upon it, as if we would like to wear it, if but for a single moment. I have thought sometimes how many Christians are like the son of Henry IV, who when his father lies asleep, puts the crown on his head. You and I have done the same. We have forgotten God. He was to us as one that sleepeth, and we began to put the crown on our own head. Oh, fools that we were! Our time for crown-wearing has not come. We do but anger our Father and bring grief into our spirits when we think of crowning ourselves instead of crowning him, worshipping our own image instead of bending before the Lord God Jehovah. Christian men and women, and especially thou, O my own soul, let us take heed that while serving God, we serve him as the angels do, who with twain cover their faces, with twain cover their feet, while with twain they fly upon his errands. Then there is another kind of humility to make up all humility. Humility after the service is done. In looking back upon success achieved, upon heights attained, upon efforts which have been blessed, it is so easy to say, "My right hand and my mighty arm hath gotten me the victory." Men generally allow their fellow creatures some little congratulation. Can a man congratulate you without admitting that you congratulate yourself? Now there is respect and honor to be given to the man of God who has served his race and his master. By all manner of means let the names of Luther and Calvin and Zwingli be held in honor. Hath not God himself said it? The righteous shall be had in everlasting remembrance. It were wrong in us if we did not honor God's servants, for it would seem as if we dishonored the Master. But it will never do for the servant of God to honor himself. After his work is done, he must lay his head upon his death pillow, saying, "I am not worthy of the least of all thy mercies. What am I, and what is my Father's house, that thou hast brought me hitherto? I am, having done all, but an unprofitable servant. I have not even done so much as it was my duty to have done. Sabbath school teachers, tract distributors, visitors of the sick, ye that feed the hungry and clothe the naked, especially ye deacons and elders, ministers of the church, see to it that never, when your work is done, you speak of yourselves or of your work. No. Your brethren, even if you speak in humble terms apparently, will soon find that when you talk much of what you do, that you are proud of it. You may think that you have misled them, but you certainly have not. Much less have you deceived your God. Take care that you put your finger on your own beauty. When you are painting another man, imitate Apelles, who drew Alexander with his finger upon the scar. But when you are painting yourself, put your finger over your choice beauty, for depend upon it that the hiding finger of your modesty will be more beautiful than the beauty you conceal. Labor then for God's sake, for the church's sake, for your own sake, to serve the Lord with all humility. Humility before the act, humility during the service, and humility when all is done. Serving the Lord with all humility of mind. But secondly, the trials of humility, or the dangers through which it has to pass. And first and foremost, one of the trials to which humility will be exposed is the possession of great ability. When a man hath 7 talents, he must recollect that he hath 7 burdens. And he that hath 10, if he hath more than others, should feel that he hath 10 times any other man's burden of responsibility. And therefore he should be bowed down. Let a man feel that he possesses more power than another, more eloquence, more mental acumen, more learning, more imagination. And he is apt to sit down and say, I am something. I am somebody in the church. Aye, one may speak indeed with solemnity here. It is so ridiculous for us ever to boast of any talents which God has given us. It is as though the debtor in the jail should say, I am a better man than you, for I am in debt 10,000 pounds, and you only 100. The more we have, the more we owe. And how can there be any ground for boasting there? A man might as well be proud because he is 6 feet high, while another is only 5 feet 6 inches, as be proud that he has 10 talents, while another has only 5. We are what God has made us, so far as gifts are concerned. If the Lord said to Moses, Who hath made man's mouth? Because Moses said he was of stammering speech. Ye may say that to yourselves, if ye can speak well. Or if ye act well, Who hath made man's arm? Or if ye think well, Who hath made man's brain? The honor never can be to the thing itself, but to that mighty one who made it what it is. Great talents make it hard for a man to maintain humility. Shall I surprise you when I say that little talents have precisely the same effect? I have seen in my short time some of the biggest men I ever set my eyes upon who were the smallest insects that were ever subjected to the microscope. Some great men in the pulpit, too, stately, dignified, magnificent, and majestic, men of whom a fortune could have been made outright, if you could have bought them at their proper value, and sold them out at what in their opinion they were worth. Men who were only fit to be bishops. They never could have been the inferior clergy. A curate's place would have been utterly insignificant. For to have been a tent-maker or an ordinary preacher like Paul would have been far beneath their level. They always have the idea that they were born on a very fortunate day, and that the world owes them the utmost consideration and respect merely for their doing human beings the honor of living in the midst of them, though there is nothing very much they've ever done. Now little talents often make a man proud. There, says he, I have but a trifle in the world. I must make a flare with it. I have but 1 ring, and I will always put the finger that wears that outwards so that it may be seen. It is a very common habit of all people who wear rings to keep the fingers on which they wear them always exposed to view, especially if they have only one ring. If a man has no gold in his pocket, he is sure to put on gold shirt studs. And if a man has scarcely any wealth at all, he is sure to put it on his back, because he must keep up a position. And that position never having been his rightful position, he is obliged to maintain it at great cost. Now, if you have little talents, and feel you have, do not swell and burst with envy. The frog was never contemptible as a frog, but when he tried to blow himself out to the size of the bullock in the meadow, then he was contemptible indeed.